Imagine coming home to find cops swarming your backyard. Lights flashing like a bad crime drama. All because your nosy HOA queen decided your garden fountain was a threat to community harmony. But what if the guy she's targeting isn't just any homeowner, he's the quiet genius who designed the whole damn subdivision's water system? And he's about to flip her world upside down with a splash of cold, hard facts. Mark Reynolds had lived in Willow Creek Estates for 15 years. Long before the HOA turned the place into a gated gulag of beige houses and banned bird feeders. He was the type who kept to himself, a widowed software engineer in his 40s. Raising his teenage son, Alex, in the house he'd inherited from his parents. The neighborhood used to feel like a slice of suburban bliss, kids biking freely, impromptu block parties, lawns that didn't need a permit to grow dandelions. Mark's backyard was his sanctuary, complete with a modest koi pond and a stone fountain he'd installed himself years ago. It wasn't flashy, just a gentle trickle of water over rocks, recirculating efficiently. A nod to his engineering roots. His dad had been a civil planner, and Mark had helped draft the original water schematics for Willow Creek back in the day. But peace? That evaporated when Patricia Patty Hargrove moved in and clawed her way to HOA president. Patty was a masterpiece of middle-class menace, mid-50s. Perfectly coiffed bob. Always in pastel cardigans that screamed, "I'm reasonable until I'm not." She spoke in that honeyed tone reserved for church committees and pyramid schemes, quoting bylaws like Bible verses. "It's all about maintaining our standards, dear," she'd coo, while finding someone for a mailbox that's half an inch too tall. Under her reign, the HOA meetings turned into kangaroo courts, where she'd manipulate votes with whispers about property values plummeting if anyone dared plant tulips instead of approved marigolds. Mark had seen her in action early on, busting a neighbor for unauthorized holiday lights in July because they were festive out of season. He chuckled privately, figuring she'd burn out. But when rumors started swirling about him, he realized she was gunning for control, not community. It began innocently enough. Or so it seemed. One crisp autumn afternoon, Mark was tweaking the fountain's pump to fix a minor clog, nothing major. Just ensuring the water cycled without wasting a drop. Alex was inside practicing guitar, the faint strums floating out like background noise. Patty materialized at the fence like a bad omen, her designer sunglasses perched on her nose, a tablet glowing in her manicured hands. "Mark." "Honey," she called out, voice dripping with faux concern. "That fountain of yours, is it up to code? We've had complaints about noise pollution." Mark wiped his hands on a rag, peering over. "Noise? It's quieter than a library whisper, Patty. And it's been here since before you bought your lot." She tilted her head, smiling that tight-lipped smile. "Well, standards evolve, don't they? I'll just note this for the board." He shrugged it off. But that night, the first whisper hit the neighborhood Facebook group. "Anyone else hear that constant dripping from Reynolds' yard? Sounds like a leak, could be hiking our water bills." Anonymous. Of course. But Mark knew the source. He stayed silent, watching, documenting the post with a screenshot. The whispers snowballed into slander. By week's end, the group chat buzzed with gems like, "I heard Mark's fountain is illegally tapping into the main line, stealing from the community reservoir." Patty fueled it subtly, posting friendly reminders about water conservation, always tagging posts near Mark's address. Neighbors who'd barbecued with him last summer now avoided eye contact at the grocery store. One even muttered to another in the aisle, "Reynolds is probably why my utility bill spiked." Mark felt the sting. His late wife had loved that fountain, it was where they'd scattered her ashes symbolically. A private ritual now twisted into gossip fodder. But he didn't lash out. Instead, he pulled up old blueprints from his dad's files, cross-referencing them with current county regs. Patience was his weapon. He'd let Patty dig her own grave while he laid the trap. Tension simmered until Patty upped the ante. A formal violation notice arrived in the mail. HOA letterhead gleaming like a badge of bogus authority. Unauthorized water feature detected. Potential for excessive consumption and structural hazard. Fine, $150. Immediate removal required. Mark scanned it. Noting the vague citations, rules she'd probably invented at the last meeting. He responded politely via email. Attaching scans of the original permits, this installation predates the HOA by a decade and complies with all municipal codes under grandfathered provisions. Her reply was swift: the board appreciates your input, but we've updated our guidelines for equity. Inspection scheduled. Equity? Mark smirked inwardly. That was code for I make the rules. He installed a discreet camera overlooking the yard, just in case. The inspection was a farce. Patty showed up unannounced on a Saturday, flanked by a weaselly guy in a rumpled suit, her certified consultant, aka her nephew who'd flunked out of community college. They marched through the gate without knocking, Patty's heels clicking like Judgment Day. Mark, we're here to assess, she announced, as if she owned the deed. He stepped out, arms crossed. Assess from the sidewalk. Patty. This is private property. Her eyes narrowed, but she kept that saccharine smile. If everything's above board, why the hostility? We're just ensuring no one's diverting resources. The nephew poked at the fountain with a stick, mumbling about flow rates. Mark recorded it all on his phone. Voice comm, for the record. You're trespassing. Permits are on file, feel free to check with the county. Patty huffed. Transparency goes both ways. Dear. We'll see about that. They left. But not before she snapped photos. Her face smug as a cat with cream. From there, the harassment escalated like a bad sitcom plot. Fines poured in weekly, aesthetic noncompliance, fountain color clashes with neighborhood palette. Then, noise ordinance breach, audible water flow after 7 p.m. Mark's ledger grew thick, $500. $750. Stacking up like her delusions. The slander hit fever pitch. Group chats claimed he was running an underground aquifer scam, implying he was some eco-villain jacking water to sell on the black market. Absurd. But effective. Alex came home from school upset. Kids teasing him about your dad's secret flood machine. Mark hugged him, saying softly, people believe what they fear. Son, we'll fix this with facts, not fights. Privately, he dove deeper. Public records requests revealed Patty's HOA had inflated budgets, funneled funds to her consultants, and ignored votes against her pet rules. He compiled it all: emails, timestamps, even IP traces linking anonymous posts to her home Wi-Fi. The noose tightened. But he waited for her to hang herself. Patty's overreach peaked when she called an emergency water summit at the community center. The room packed with uneasy neighbors. Fluorescent lights buzzing like her nerves. She stood at the podium, projector beaming charts of spiking usage, her voice pious: friends, one rogue feature is draining our shared resources. For the greater good, we must enforce removal. Murmurs rippled, some nodded. Others shifted uncomfortably. Mark sat in the back, binder in lap, waiting. When she opened for questions, he stood. Patty. Those charts, mind sharing the source data? She blinked, recovering with a chuckle. It's proprietary board info. Mark. Trust the process. He smiled faintly. Trust? Like how you trusted my permits before finding me anyway. The room hushed. He projected his own slides, original blueprints. County stamps. Water meter reading showing 0 excess. This fountain's grandfathered. Your data? Altered, timestamps don't match county logs. Gasps echoed. Patty's face flushed. Confidence cracking. That's slander. I reviewed everything personally. Mark pressed play on a video clip, her trespassing. Nephew fumbling. Her voice sneering. If you had nothing to hide. The audience stirred. Whispers turning to outrage. Is that legal? Someone muttered. Mark laid out the rest, falsified budgets. Her nephew's fake credentials. IP traces to slander posts. This is an order. Patty, it's obsession. She stammered. I'm protecting values. But the board chair. A retired judge. Intervened, Mrs. Hargrove. This looks like harassment. We're tabling your motion and referring you for audit. Neighbors applauded tentatively. Then louder. As Patty's mask shattered. Her eyes darting in panic. The fallout was swift and satisfying. The county swooped in. Fining the HOA $8,000 for fraud. Dissolving Patty's board. She faced personal charges for defamation and trespass. Turns out manipulating data was a misdemeanor. Her house hit the market within days. For sale sign crooked like her schemes. Mark sought restitution quietly. Recovering fines plus damages for the stress on Alex. The neighborhood exhaled, no more clipboard patrols. Rules rewritten collaboratively, simple stuff like respect thy neighbor's yard. Block parties returned. Laughter spilling over fences. Mark upgraded the fountain slightly. Adding solar lights. A quiet nod to progress without permission slips. Alex slid into normalcy. Teasing his dad about being a stealth ninja instead of a villain. One evening. As the fountain trickled under twilight. Mark sat with Alex. The waters hum a soothing constant. Think she'll learn? Alex asked. Mark shrugged. Some people cling to control like a life raft. But us? We build our own. The boy grinned. Tossing a pebble into the pond. Ripples spreading wide. So, was Patty the real villain? Or just a product of a system that lets petty tyrants thrive? Drop your take below. Who's truly at fault in HOA hell?